The Winnipeg Jets make multiple signings heading into the Stanley Cup playoffs, inking one of their star players to a multi-year contract, and this changes everything for the Winnipeg Jets going into not only this year's playoffs, but for the years to come. We're going to break down all this, the implications going into the playoffs, and much more, which you're not going to want to miss out on. Before we get into that, if you're watching this video and you enjoy the Winnipeg Jets and the NHL, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach our goal of 13,000 subscribers. There's at least 300 of you watching this video right now that's not subscribed, so go down and help us out, and we'll keep you up to date on everything to do around the NHL and your Winnipeg Jets. But here's, we got up straight into the first topic today, where we did see coming out from Elliot Friedman today, Winnipeg Jets signed Neal Pionk to a 6x7 contract going into next season. Listen, Pionk has been outstanding this season. He hasn't been the best, most consistent player, but this season he has been a huge part of this Winnipeg Jets defensive core. You can pause and read through on what Jay Fresh says on him, and go follow Jay Fresh on Twitter as well. But looking at his stats, playing with Sandberg, they are one of the best pairings on expected goal percentage in the National Hockey League. I mean, Darius, I'm just going to kind of throw it to you. What's your thoughts on this contract extension? Because in my mind, this is a perfect signing.
This is a great deal for the Winnipeg Jets, especially because the salary cap is going to go up almost $10 million every summer after this summer. So, by year four of this deal, $7 million is going to act almost as if it's $3 million right now. So I think this is a great value contract for as long as they lock them up. And this is a guy that, you could look at all the advanced analytics, right? And they all speak very highly of Neal Pionk and that he's a great player. And we all know what he can do offensively. He still does the hip check, which is a lost art at this point. Obviously, he's making it a staple of his, at least in the NHL right now, because nobody else really does it. But he's been fantastic. And one thing that I think is really great for the Jets is they've found something very good on the blue line here. Obviously, Morrissey and DeMello, that's a great defensive pairing, and they play against the toughest competition, right? When they're playing other teams and some of the other teams' best players, and especially heading into the playoffs. But when you look at Pionk and Sandberg and what they've been able to do as a second pairing, they've been fantastic. And when you take one of them out of the equation, because Pionk's been out with an injury, Sandberg was out with a broken leg earlier this year. When you take one of them out of the equation, the team starts to falter a little bit. And I'm not saying that they're holding the team up, but I look at these guys like glue guys. I've been saying it all season long that, a lot of people think of glue guys as, the guys that keep the guys together in the locker room and stuff like that. But I think these two are literally glue guys for the roster and the construction of this roster. And they keep the team together when they're in the lineup, and they just add something to the lineup. That's fantastic. And one thing that nobody is really talking about out there right now is how much he plays. He's averaging almost 23 minutes a night this season. That's going to go a long way, I think, this playoffs, when you have a couple guys that can play and eat a lot of minutes, especially if these games go to overtime, which is what I think might happen, especially against the St. Louis Blues. So he's been a great piece to this lineup. He's deserved the contract, I think, and he's been great offensively, as you can tell, ever since he came to Winnipeg. So this is a good signing for the Jets. The advanced analytics say so as well, and just the eye test. I think that, having a second pairing like that, and there's still work to do. We'll get to Sandberg in a bit too, because he needs a contract too, and we have no idea what that's going to look like, but good signing for the Winnipeg Jets.
And that's the biggest thing. Listen, when looking at this, as you said, a second pairing on this team, they're matched up with this on the stats with some of the team's top pairings. I mean, Slavin and Burns is one of the best shutdown pairings in the National Hockey League. You can pause and work your way through. This is mostly top lines minus a couple Carolina lines, because we know they're cracked on defense. But these are a lot of star forward lines, or sorry, defensive lines with the top pairings. Well, listen, dears, I'm going to kind of throw it back to you. We know Neal Pionk got signed. Awesome signing. 6x7 is an incredible deal with the cap going up. But is there anyone else you want to bring up with a new contract?
Absolutely. They did make another signing Alex Iafallo to a contract extension as well at 3 years, $3.67 million. And I think this is a good value contract for this player as well. He came over, in that trade, obviously, and there was maybe high expectations, right? You're thinking that maybe he can play higher in the lineup. He didn't really do that. He's been playing on the fourth line, but I don't think that matters. Whatever works for the team works for the team. And this is a guy who's fit into the system. He's played his role perfectly, and he's a guy that I think you can win with. So locking him up, again, some people might be thinking $3 million, almost $4 million might be a lot for a player like this, but he does play a role. They can use a player like this. He's bought into the system. And again, with the cap going up, it's just going to age better and better as the years go on. As you get to next year, the year after that, it's going to look fine. And one other thing I wanted to mention too, besides Iafallo, because I think he's a great signing, and I'll throw it over back to you in a second, Mark, for your thoughts, is, they're making a couple signings here. I wonder what happens with Dylan Sandberg. He still needs a contract as well. He's going to be a free agent. So that's something that the Jets need to figure out too. Do you, how much are you going to pay him? Because we were looking at projections earlier this season. Maybe it's $5 million. All of a sudden, your second pairing costs you $12 million. That's something you got to look at too. But Sandberg's been fantastic. You have to look at signing him. So they're giving out a lot of money right now. The salary cap's going up, but I think you do want to keep a lot of this team together because honestly, it's been working, especially in the regular season. And we're about to find out if it works in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is, listen, you want to get that pairing locked up. I mean, they've been outstanding. The numbers say it, the events that say it. Yes, him being an RFA is going to be hard to re-sign him, but I think with this team, the position they're in, you need to give them the money. This has shown its work. We are going to see what it does in the playoffs. So I think locking up this pairing, yes, 11 mil might seem like a lot, but with the cap shooting up season after season, as we're seeing with the projections, it's going to be a lot easier to lock these guys up. Maybe it's a bridge deal for Sandberg, but I do think the Jets want to keep this as their second pairing for the future. Going back real fast on this signing though, listen, $3 million does seem like a lot to some people, but with the cap going up, awesome signing. Almost a 20 goal scorer, 31 points, only playing 13 minutes. Time on ice. I do think there's a lot left that Alex can really bring to this team, so I do like it. But listen, Darius, the big question is going into the playoffs, is this the team that can finally get over that hump? We know Hellebuyck has been one of the best goaltenders, tied for the second most wins ever in a season by a goalie with 47. That's more than the St. Louis Blues, who they're matched up with, have this season. What is your thoughts on these signings? What's your thoughts on just how this team looks going into the playoffs with some of these guys getting the bag going in?
Listen, they're feeling really good heading into the playoffs. They've been a team that has won a lot of games all season and with confidence, right? They've come in and done the job a lot this season. They've been able to just come in, it's all business, strictly business, and get the job done, right? So I think that they're feeling really good about themselves. They have two players now that just got contract extensions, so they know that they'll be back. Obviously, there was contract extensions earlier this season. There's still more up in the air. You got Sandberg, what's going to happen with Ehlers, right? Gabe Vilardi's having a career year. So I think that for the most part, they're feeling really good heading into the playoffs. But I mean, they're one of the best teams in terms of offense from the defense as well. But what can they do defensively? I think they're a lot better than people give them credit for, but they're going to have to lock in defensively. And not just that, what's going to happen with Connor Hellebuyck? It wasn't a good showing last year, and everyone's been talking about it and labeling him a choker. I don't know if I'm ready to give him that label yet, but what happened last year, is something you have to think about and something you have to overcome. So I think that the first big challenge, obviously, is going to be the St. Louis Blues. But the St. Louis Blues are playing some great hockey. This is not a stereotypical, wild card team. They probably could have finished higher if they were playing this way the whole year or started with Jim Montgomery, right? So that's going to be the first test, obviously. If they can get past that, I think that's a mental block that'll kind of, be shut down. They can keep moving forward and hopefully steamroll their way through the playoffs because they're a really good team. They know that they can do this, but that mental block from what happened last year, they have to get past the St. Louis Blues, or at least the first half of the series, the first two games. You gotta make a statement, and you have to look like you're in it and not gonna have a repeat of last year. That's for sure. So it's gonna be a very interesting series. I think there's a bit of a styles clash here going on with both of these teams, and we'll see which one prevails.
But I mean, Jets fans, what's your thoughts on this? What do you think, and who do you think is going to be the MVP of the series? How many games do you think it's going to take for the Jets to win this series, because they are the stronger team going against one of the red hot teams in the NHL? But it's not going to get easier. I mean, Dallas is a team they have to look out for. A team like Colorado, yeah. It's going to be a hard playoff run. What's your guys' thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on these contracts? Because I think we both agree these are awesome deals. But leave a comment down below on all these topics. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. As I said, we're so close to 13,000. So if you enjoyed it, you made it this far, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. We'll keep you up to date on the NHL. But I've been your host, Mark, my co-host, Darius, and take care.